Dear student, although we have been saying persistently that TCA is hub, is the central metabolic pathway, but in different tissues, depending upon the needs of the tissues, depending upon the environment in which those tissues are located, there may be certain variations in any metabolic pathway, and TCA is not exception. Let us see in different tissues how the TCA cycle goes. Liver, of course, is one of the most important organ. We can't think of metabolism without liver actually. It performs numerous metabolic processes. For example, it's a hub for the gluconeogenesis. Fatty acid synthesis also takes place here, and also in amino acid metabolism, it really acts as a central point. TCA, of course, is involved in the energy production primarily, but also, as we have been talking, that TCA also gives rise to the formation of many compounds, like many molecules like amino acids, fatty acids, and so on and so forth, which are then used in liver for synthesis of different molecules. Our skeletal muscles, of course, are one of the most active structures. These muscles are always in the need of energy, depending upon what the muscles are doing. If we are, for instance, if we are doing exercise, then of course we will need a lot of energy, and the pace of the TCA will be very high. And similarly, if we are in the resting condition, the muscles are not really active, especially the skeletal muscles, so there will be no need of much of the energy, and the pace of the TCA will be relatively slow. Of course, then comes heart. When it comes to the activity, when it comes to the need of the energy, nothing can compete heart, because it goes on beating continuously and it needs energy. But it doesn't need energy from glucose mainly, it comes from the fatty acid metabolism. But you should keep in mind that fatty acid metabolism also depend upon TCA, because at the end of the day, the fatty acids are converted into their subunits, which are the acetyl-CoA, and the acetyl-CoA then enters into the TCA and the energy is produced. And in this way, we say that even for heart also, the energy produced by TCA is very, very important. Also, although I have mentioned it already when we were talking about glycolysis, keep in mind that in certain conditions, heart also depend upon glycolysis, because for instance, your heart is weak, you don't have much oxygen, then it will be glycolysis which will be used by heart, because oxygen is not there to really keep the TCA cycle running. When we talk about brain, again, brain is highly active organ, one of the most complex organ. It is even active when we are not doing anything. It is still thinking. Maybe we don't know, but it is still active. When we are sleeping, still we are dreaming, and during that also some part of our brains are still active. So it is actively utilizing energy. The energy, major part of the brain energy comes from what we say the glucose metabolism, and the glucose metabolism again depend upon TCA, because this is, we are talking about aerobic glucose metabolism, aerobic glycolysis also, and eventually it needs TCA to really take the central position, because TCA produce the highest level of energy. So for brain also, the proper running of the TCA is highly important. Actually, it's indispensable. Then there comes the adipose tissues. Adipose tissues store the triglycerides as a source of energy. So whenever we need energy which comes from the breakdown of fatty acids, the adipose tissue is a wonderful source for that energy. The triglycerides are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol, and these fatty acids are broken down into the acetyl CoA, which again become the part of TCA and gives us the energy. TCA play an important role in energy production and of course in the providing the metabolites for other metabolic pathway. In specific tissues, there may be different in terms of the need of TCA, in terms of the pace of TCA. So there is a regulation in the running of the TCA. I mean, how it runs, how it goes from one reaction to the other in different tissues. If you are talking about brain, it may be the pace may be different. If you are talking about heart, it may be different. If you are talking about skeletal muscles, it may be different. So depend on, of course, if you are talking about adipose tissues, it may be very different. So depending upon the environment in which TCA is taking place, the organs which we are talking about, the pace, the control, the regulation of TCA may be a little bit different. मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ कि आप questions खुद ये there are certain questions which are I am asking you. आप अपने से भी कुछ क्वेश्चन कर सकते हैं, हो सकता है इस लिस्ट में वो क्वेश्चन ना हो जो इनसे भी ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हो. द मेन थिंग कि यू शुड आस्क क्वेश्चंस. क्वेश्चन किए बगैर साइंस नहीं आएगी. You can never learn science without questioning. What could be the benefit of dependence of heart on the metabolism of fats? I mean, heart depends upon metabolism of fats for energy. Why not sugar? Why doesn't it depend so much on glucose? Why it depends upon fats? Similarly, why brain on the other hand depends on glucose? Why, like heart, it doesn't depend upon fatty acids for metabolism? I mean, why it doesn't require energy coming out of the fatty acid metabolisms? क्या वजह है? ज़रा सोचिए कि हम बॉडी के तमाम पार्ट्स की बात करें. आपके ख्याल में किस में थ्रू आउट द डे वेरिएशन ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा होगी TCA साइकिल में? कहीं ये ज़्यादा स्लो हो जाएगा, कहीं ये ज़्यादा तेज़ हो जाएगा. वो कौन सा ऑर्गन हो सकता है, कौन सी स्ट्रक्चर हो सकती है बॉडी में वेयर वेरिएबिलिटी इज़ द मैक्सिमम? क्या प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है कि अगर तमाम बॉडी पार्ट्स में एक ही तरह का मेटाबॉलिज्म हो रहा हो, यानी कि TCA लेट्स से इट्स टोटली रनिंग लाइक इट्स रनिंग इन एनी टिश्यू, इट्स एब्सोल्युटली आइडेंटिकली रनिंग, कोई वेरिएशन नहीं है, तो व्हाट कुड बी द प्रॉब्लम? थिंक अबाउट इट.